So I don't know where people want me to begin. I'm Maren McDonell, President, Harrison Neighborhood Association. I've been the president for 3 years. I've been a resident in Minnesota my whole life, organizing my whole life. When I got to Harrison was the first time that I had difficulty getting around in my community. Being raised in South Minneapolis, I have access to buses, freeways, bridges, every day, every block. When you get to Glenwood Avenue, there are no buses, there are no bridges, there's nothing but freeways. So to be able to partner with Joan and Russ, we're given inside information that can not only help connect the unconnected in North Minneapolis, but also connect us to the broader region, also South Minneapolis. This goes down to the Southwest LRT, which is supposed to be coming to Harrison. We're slated to get a stop at Van White. As many people are aware of, Van White does not have access from north and south, so there's a bridge that's missing. We've been waiting for 15 years to get this bridge. This is one of the problems that we're facing in Harrison, is that we're not getting the response from the city that we'd like. So what that means is, on top of the Southwest LRT with the light rail station, we then have a piece of land that the Bassett Creek Master Plan has been in talks with the city. It's been approved 15 years ago. It's a wonderful plan that will give us 2,500 jobs, 1,500 units of housing. It will bring equitable transportation to North Minneapolis. The problem is the city and the county would like to do train storage there. This is an issue that has been facing North Minneapolis and plaguing our community for many years. This map behind me is actually from 1930s, and if you take a look at the map, it says the Negro slum area is where North Minneapolis is. So this is the way they felt about North Minneapolis in 1935, and not much has changed. I live there today. With that being said, a lot of our residents have a harder time getting to their shopping areas in North Minneapolis than they do. It'd be easier to go to South Minneapolis and shop than it would be to go to North Minneapolis, living in North Minneapolis. As I said, there's no buses. The buses have stopped running on Glenwood late hours at nighttime. It's funny, we're sitting on 38th Avenue. This is the hardest street to catch a bus on in South Minneapolis. You can get one in 20 minutes. North Minneapolis, we're looking at every hour to catch a bus. This is a city that has not connected the unconnected. And the fact that we're able to partner with Joan and Russ, we're getting inside information. So when it comes to like the light rail, this is the stop where we're supposed to be able to have equitable transportation for North Minneapolis. When we get to the station stop, like I said, this is where they want to put train storage. So it's kind of a complicated piece. So I'll try to break it down as I best can. So we have a piece of land that is valuable, very valuable, so valuable that the city and the county want this land and they're willing to move a street to put train storage there. This is train storage that's going to be open rail, diesel train storage, diesel idling all day long in my community for us to breathe. We've been asking for a meeting with the mayor for 10 months. We've yet to get a meeting with the mayor. The Bassett Creek Master Plan has been approved for the last 15 years. Annie, Joan, Russ, even Maura was back at Harrison when they started this. And so we're still fighting this. We're still fighting to get the justice in our community. And this is something that's not by accident. This is by design. This is systematic racism at its finest. This is institutionalized racism at its finest. You're keeping a group of people from benefiting in the community. The problem with that is they own a piece of land that's in Kenwood. But because it's in Kenwood, they don't want to bother the Kenwood residents with their diesel, so they'd rather shift it in North Minneapolis. So we've got the rock crushing facility, the impound lot, and this is a story that we're being told, oh, well, that's better for us. It's not just about what's better for the city and the county, it's about what's best for the community as a whole. With that being said, if they build this train storage, we'll lose 2,800 jobs for our community. Okay, this is a time where people don't even have jobs right now. You know, we've got nothing in our neighborhood for our youth to even try to get employed with. This is an opportunity that, once again, Minneapolis will drop the ball on. When it comes to North Minneapolis, it's a segmented part of the city, okay? It's been stigmatized for over 50 years. The map clearly shows this. And so When we partner with the Alliance, we're able to get this inside, valuable information. We still have not received the environmental justice impact study. We've been waiting over a year for this. Now, Joan just told you how valuable this piece of information is for the community. We still haven't gotten this yet. You know, and this is what I think the community is engaging around, and why the community is getting so engaged is because this is a part of history. This is a part of legacy. This is something we need to stand up and change. It's not just about us, it's about the next generation. It's about getting the bridge so that we can connect north and south. You know, we're in South Minneapolis. Driving here, there's a bridge every 5 blocks. You know, what about the Glenwood Bridge? What about the Plymouth Bridge? What about, you know, the Golden Valley Road Bridge? There's access points to get off of the freeway everywhere in South Minneapolis. Is this by accident? No, it's set up by design. And so for us to be able to get the community involved, to let them know they have a voice, you have a right. 3 years we've been pushing off the sale of this land in Bassett Creek. 3 years we still have been telling them no. This is the community getting involved. This is meeting month after month with Joan and Russ, Larry, the rest of the community. Every month we meet together for 2-3 hours a month to dig deeper, to find a way. I mean, we want the Southwest LRT. We really want light rail. I mean, it would be beneficial to North Minneapolis, but at what cost? At what cost to the community do we then say, okay, look, how many people are we going to get to ride the light rail if you've got train storage there? So the last time, and you know, we've done everything that we were supposed to. We talked with the developer, we've talked with the city, we've talked with the county. And the last meeting we went to, we saw 2 twin towers that were office buildings, not giving jobs to anybody in our community, and we saw 2,000 parking spaces.
Along with rail storage.
Along with rail storage underneath it. You know, and this is, like I said, the most important thing I want people to understand is this is not just trains that are going to get parked nice and neat. These are trains, 18, 20 trains at a time with diesel idling for 8 to 12 hours in my community. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to breathe that. And no one can give us the information that we've been asking for, just simple pieces of information. Yeah.
Well, Harrison requested an environmental justice comprehensive analysis of this rail storage. So what you have, what Maren's referring to is a land use planning map, right? So it shows you how racism was institutionalized in land use planning in Minneapolis back in 1935, and how we're still seeing the effects of it today. So you have the interchange and intermodal station by the Twin Stadium that will bring together commuter rail, LRT, and buses, and the money is getting spent to build that out, and they need a place to store these trains. So they look at the Harrison neighborhood where there's city-owned land. It's right next to the Southwest LRT Van White station, so it's in that station area, and it's it's a very complex intersection of land use pressures. You have the East Metro and the West Metro competition to be the terminus, to be the final station in this big regional transportation system. So it's kind of hard to talk about without getting very complex.
So what can people who don't live within the community do to help? And again, remembering that these are 20-year projects, 20, 30-year projects, but we have to get at it on the front end, and you've been working on this for years and years. What can the community do? What can folks do that are here?
Get involved, ask questions, take some of the handout, educate yourself, talk to me, talk to other people about what's really going on in the community. I think educating yourself to educate others is the only way we're going to actually make a difference. If we get more people in South Minneapolis to say, hey, this is not just about North Minneapolis, this is about a region, this is a regional issue that's happening here. I tell you, you tell another friend, somebody's bound to see Dayton, somebody's bound to see the commissioner, somebody's bound to open their mouth at church or at the synagogue and say, hey, look, this is not okay. It's time that we stop this and we stand up together as a community. So there's all kinds of things that people can do that don't have to live in North Minneapolis. Raising awareness about, you know, being a part of something that's greater than just what we see in front of us. This is about something that's for our generation after us. You know, it's not just about catching a bus today, tonight to get home. It's about where do we see ourselves in 20 years as a community? Where do we see ourselves as a city in 20 years from now?
So I want to open it up to any questions people might have. And also remembering that, again, these issues cross. It's economic, it's racial, it's environmental justice issues that are all sort of intertwined. And, we've heard, over the past year, just the economic disparities, and especially in the African American community, communities of color. This is just perpetuating we're one of the worst states. So we really do need to address this.
In response to that, I just want to note that, the Metric who's here is part of one of the community leaders on University Avenue and part of the Stops for Us campaign to get those 3 additional stations on Central Corridor. Well, Stops for Us won a National Environmental Justice Achievement Award for 2010 for the win that they were able to leverage. And when they came to town, I did talk to them about the Harrison issue, and through our relationships and our networks, through getting the community leaders on University Avenue getting it, the director at Region 5 of EPA had received the environmental justice letter request from Harrison and read it over on his way here to come to the award ceremony. And so he said it's a very reasonable request, and he's setting up meetings in Region 5 in Chicago to talk about doing a comprehensive environmental justice scoping, which is like a more intensive environmental analysis of the rail storage. When we were in Detroit, we cornered Peter Rogoff the same way. We learned this from the Central.
And why were you in Detroit?
Oh, we were in Detroit for the Policy Link Equity Summit, because we all know equity is a superior growth model.
Yes.
And well, anyway, Peter Rogoff had a last-minute appearance, and we made sure we went up and talked to him and told him about Harrison. Peter Rogoff is the head of the Federal Transit Administration, and he agreed to do a telephone conference. So I think we're using a lot of the lessons learned from the trails that were blazed on Central Corridor, and it is. I agree with you, Annie. There's a lot that's going to start popping for North Minneapolis with the Southwest and the Bottineau planning, and it's very important that grassroots community is involved now, because once it starts rolling, it's harder to keep on top of it. So you're not being in reactive mode, but you're already proactive, which you guys are. I mean, you have the Bessie Creek Valley Master Plan, which you've been working on
Real
for so
quick,
long.
so Norm West, when he got that